BioSyngas is a wholly owned subsidiary of Syngas Limited, which is listed on the stock exchange, the Australian Stock Exchange. BioSyngas is all about energy conversion using renewables. Our focus is biomass and biogas, and with some natural gas blended in. What we're doing is we are working towards establishing a business, a transformational business really in Australia, which is around generation of power using biomass, the supply and the sale of that power for very large industrial off-takers, so 3 megawatts up is our target. Why we can do all of this is because there's some major changes going on in the marketplace. Those shifts are in energy prices, and they're coming about as a result of investment needed in new distribution network with the growth of population, the carbon tax of course, but there are a number of reasons why power prices are increasing. And industrial off-takers in particular, who are our target market, are looking for ways to be off-net, off the electricity grid, and be provided power. And we can offer a lower cost solution to their power supply needs as well by taking technologies that can convert biomass into energy relatively cost effectively. I'm the Managing Director and CEO, and we have a small board which comprises of Mr. Ernest Boswava, who's a lawyer with considerable experience in the petrochemical industry, and Michael Cox, who's an accountant. He's our chairman, and he's also got a law and accounting degree. And outside of the board, the key management people are myself. I actually have engineers working on each of our projects, specific engineering groups or lead engineers, and we use engineers from all around the world, across Australia, as well as we're working with Siemens who are technology providers for some of our projects, Rentec, who are based in the USA, and a number of other companies. So we basically take the approach of using the best possible providers or technology providers or equipment providers in the space that we're in. And when it comes to investors, what we've found is that although the global financial crisis has not been particularly kind to us, quite innovative and potentially an area in areas that people are not familiar with, we have been able to attract some excellent private equity or private investors. We've got some very good cornerstone investors who take a long-term view on energy and see what we're doing as being crucial into the future. So yeah, that's the type of investors we've had to date. Yes, in December of last year, so December 2011, we attracted an investment from Frid Energy Pty Ltd and an increased shareholding from Iron Mountain Pty Ltd, so two companies based in Sydney, who have together taken a 53% position in Syngas Limited. Now, as a result of that transaction, that brought $800,000 to the company, and as a result of that transaction, we've been working really hard on getting all of our biomass assets into BioSyngas, which is really, really important, and making the value of all the work that we've done in the past more transparent for other investors. We've secured a multi-project pipeline. So our primary project is Bowman, which is in the Bowman Industrial Park on the outskirts of Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. But we now have some other projects, one in the Northern Territory, and we've got preliminary discussions for a similar project in the Latrobe Valley in Victoria. So we've assembled a multi-project pipeline, all based on what we're doing for Bowman. And that's been in discussion with our majority shareholders. On the other side, on the coal side, which is it's just part of the stable for Syngas, we've been doing work on a flow sheet for some clean coal technologies. Now, out of that, we've actually produced an information memorandum, which was released in the middle of this year, which is for a raising of $500,000 for a 40% stake in BioSyngas as a company. And at the moment, we're in discussions with a number of parties about taking that position. Pretty good for us. We think we're in the right place in the market at the right time. So based on us getting the $500,000 that we're currently looking for, we'll be investing all of that into taking the Bowman project one step further, and that's to construction ready stage. So we'll finish very detailed engineering, the equipment lists, the relationships with the providers, and we'll also finish our development application for a particular site that's been earmarked for the project, and we're well down the track with the heads of agreement with an off-taker who will take all the power we can produce from Bowman, certainly phase 1 and phase 2, which would take us to about 6 megawatts. So based on what we're working on now, we see a pretty good future for us in the next 12 months, which could see us certainly in construction and generating cash flow by the end of next year. That would be our target. But outside of that, we've got interest in other projects, and we'll be looking to get heads of agreement over supply of feedstock or specific locations or relationships with the off-takers of the power. Based on the success at Bioman, we see the business model that we're developing really taking off. It's called distributed energy plants or embedded energy plants. They're behind the meter, but they work with intelligent grid systems. So they allow the off-taker to modify their power requirements, but using our power as base load. Where these sorts of projects make sense is where there's plentiful feedstock, you can under long-term supply and low cost, where you've got good sites proximal to the off-taker, and then you can match the site to the off-taker's requirements. So in Australia, there are certain locations where it's cheaper. It will be cheaper for industrial parties, and that's the scale that we're looking at, 3 megawatts up, to engage companies like us to build and operate power plants for them. And we're also looking to list. So we have a multi-project pipeline, and essentially based on the success of our first project, we've already got other parties who are very interested in developing their projects. So it'll be about raising the capital to build, to construct, essentially roll out the design that we've done for Bioman. Now's a great time to look at renewables and investment in renewables, and specifically in biomass. There's been a lot of strides in terms of technologies and collection, and a lot of work's been done since the first generation biomass projects or investments have been made in Australia. It's a lot greater level of sophistication being applied to these sorts of projects. And of course there are the external factors like the carbon tax, increasing energy prices, everyone needing to look at ways of improving their carbon footprint. And we see that now is a really great time for people to just take a good look. And BioSyngas is looking to develop a model which would be a first in Australia. We would be a standalone power generator, supplier and seller in biomass, specialising in biomass, and it's never been done before, and we believe now's the right time for that to be achieved, and we're looking for investors who will make that happen. People can find out more information on our website, biosyngas.com.au, or calling the head office in Melbourne.